this thing is way down here and you're trying to tend your slack, I like the triple attachment pulley because, see, as I pull this, because this is attached to the pulley, this stays in front of you. You're not like reaching down trying to find it. So it's pretty easy to tend your slack. And see, that knot will grab when I sit down, and then the pulley breaks it so I can tend slack. So now I'll go up here. This is called hip thrusting. Instead of like just trying to use just your arms, it is thrusting because I want to try to use my whole body to pull myself up there. So I'll step in and see, I'm using my legs, my arms, my hips like that, and it saves a lot of energy. Now, every now and again, you have to stop. It's actually pretty easy to hold myself because I'm just over a branch, so that gives me a little extra friction. But then I'm going to tend my slack right here. Now when I fall, it catches me. Don't go too far without tending your slack. You can go a few feet, get a little bit of slack, but if you go like way down here and you drop yourself, it can feel like you're falling. So typically do a few thrusts, pull the slack, few thrusts, pull the slack. Also, the bigger this belly gets, this can actually snag stuff. So just go up a few times, pull it tight. I'm not just using my arms, I'm using my whole body to get up there. Now we're in the canopy. I'm not quite ready to work, but I'm gonna tie in so I can cut some suckers. So you should always have 2 points of contact when you're cutting. I do cut just on a steel core hook line sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's just faster. I just make a cut with just my steel core. I never do that with a rope lanyard. This is so easy to cut, and I never do it with just my climbing line. So when I'm using a rope lanyard, I'm extra vigilant about always double tying in. I'm vigilant on the steel core, but the steel core does give you at least a little more protection. I'm just cutting some suckers off now just because I'm already here. This is a silky sugoi. These suckers, especially the oak, they'll just snag everything. So I'm just cutting those. I don't want to cut that. So I've got my battery saw. I'm just going to cut the branch. We talked about before. We do an undercut, kind of out here to avoid the peeling. And now make our cut here. This will pop off. And now we've just got the stub. So you're going to be tempted to leave these stubs, but the cons outweigh the pros. Ropes are going to snag this. Brush is going to snag this. You might slip and hit this. So if you have a really deliberate idea for a stub, like I need this for rigging or something, then you can leave it. But 90% of the time, 99% of the time, just especially down low in the canopy, just cut the stub off. You have no use for it. Now that doesn't weigh anything. If I just cut it here, it's not going to peel down. All right, and the other nice thing about getting my rope set, now I need to get past this branch. Like let's say I didn't have this. I was just climbing with this. If you didn't have a climb line, you'd have to pull yourself in. You have to unclip this. And now you're just like hoping for the best. I'm not that high off the ground, so I'm just showing you this. You're forced to get into this dangerous position by not having a climbing line with you if you want to get over this branch. If you have your climbing line set, you just pull that tight and just unclip your flip line, and you don't have to worry about falling to your death. See how much easier that is and how much safer that was? Alright, so I'm up to the point where I threw my throw ball. Now, for maximum mobility in this tree, I want to get as high as I can safely and as centrally as I can practically in the canopy. So I look around the canopy. Where do I want to tie in? I want to tie in so I can move around. I want to tie in here. This is the middle of the tree. That means I'll have good access to the rest of the tree. If I just tie into this one, it's going to be hard for me to get over here, and vice versa. If I tie in up there, it's going to be hard to get over here. Trees aren't always this balanced. They're not always this perfect. Picking your tie-in, it's a kind of a big decision because it's going to commit you to, working that position for a while. But this is oak. I can climb way up here, but now I want to get higher. So I'm going to advance my rope. So to advance your rope, we're alternating between the flip line and the climb line. I see a branch right there. I'm just going to throw this over the branch. If you have a steel carabiner, throwing it like this is a little bit easier. This is an aluminum carabiner. Look, I'll just throw it over that branch and flick it down. So see this? This probably would hold me, but it's safer to go around the trunk. Now if that branch were to break, I'll just catch the subsequent branch. If I'm around the branch itself and the branch breaks, I'll fall all the way to the ground. So going around the trunk gives me the security of the branches below me. So, all right, back to hip thrusting just a little bit. Now I'm pretty close to my tying point, and if you wanted to reduce friction, you wanted to preserve the bark, if you wanted to make your rope last longer, you could use like a friction saver or something, but this is supposed to be a basic video, so they call this natural crud. Whew. That's the problem with climbing in the winter. Sometimes you might step on a branch, not realizing it's dead, like I just did. But I was double tied in, so it's all good. I'm gonna tie in right here. I probably wouldn't tie in so high if this were like a maple or something, but it's an oak, so it's like really strong top. I am gonna climb up just to at least look at my tie-in. Yeah, so that's like, I don't know, 2-3 inches in diameter, and it's it's really strong wood. This union's good. It's nice and open. There's a little bit of included bark here, but it's not too bad. I've got 2 great advantages having a high tie-in. Number 1, I have a lot of mobility. I can get around the canopy easily now. Number 2, even more important, I'm always double tied in, and I'm tied in above myself. If you're tied in above yourself, you're not going to have such a dramatic movement. So as long as I put my landing around before I cut anything, I've got a permanent second tie-in now. That's a ton of safety. So now we're going to rappel back down to the bottom, sort of. I don't want to start cutting this because these are going to get hung up in the lower branches. You do have to sort of pick these trees apart like a puzzle. You have to cut things in the order so that it will fall, you know? I've actually pruned this tree before. It's been a while. Cutting down my beautiful prune job. And folks, try to never climb alone. Have somebody there with you. Just even if it's just somebody to call 911, like just don't do it alone. So here we are at the bottom, nothing under this branch. Oh, we're not gonna get into rigging or anything like that in this video. This is basic tree removal 101 or how does that work? 102? This is the second video. How does that work?
Yeah, 102.
Yeah, this is tree removal 102. So I'm gonna cut this branch. I'm double tied in, ready to go. Now I'm gonna cut it here. It's gonna pop off nice and clean. What if I didn't cut it out? What if I cut it right here, just like this? Watch this. Everything's going good. Oh, dang it. Because the branch is longer than the drop zone and it's hung on. Now I've got this awkward position. If I would have cut it out here, done an undercut and a top cut, it would have popped off. It would land cleanly. It would be, 6 feet away from the trunk. Now I'm in this awkward position. What do? I cut here. I could cut my rope. I mean, there's not really a good way at this point to cut this. What do I do now? Oh, I'll cut it here. Ah, it's on my leg. It's you just getting a load of problems that aren't necessary because I just went for it and I didn't think about how the tree was going to fall off. Now I've got this awkward branch to deal with. It's pinning me down. Luckily, I'm super strong. Put it off. But, that's just an example. If that were a big branch, I'd be in big trouble, So now let's go to we can't cut that one yet. We have to go cut that one out because it's over this one. Look how nice this is. I'm tied in. I can just jump over here. I can throw this around the trunk. And you don't ever want to be like this cutting. This is going to be awkward. You want to try to be on top of it if you can. So having that tie-in is so helpful. This is what it should look like. So you do your undercut. And if you want to really be sure it's going to pop, cut the sides. The idea is I'll cut here, this will close and pinch, and this will pop off. You gotta be careful, you don't want to pinch your bar, but look how much better this branch will be removed than the last one I did. Oh. Okay, and that's how you take out the drum.
I thought it was far enough away.
Well, I just popped it so good that is that thing toast?
Maybe, yeah.
I got a few years out of it, so that's not all you can ask, I guess.
It's been a trooper.
Yeah.
It's been through a lot.
Hopefully we got it on camera. The smackdown. So now I cut this branch, and then that will allow me to get to that one next. See, if I cut this, it's going to land on this. It's going to be unpredictable. It could shoot back at me. So, like I said, you kind of got to take these apart like a puzzle. Same thing. I'll just do a undercut. And the faster, that one almost pinched. I got myself just in time. The faster you can cut to, a sharp chain is a safe chain. You can manipulate things better with a sharp chain. I've got a really good drop zone on this tree. Like if I wasn't filming, I would just follow this thing. But I have a really good drop zone with this tree. So now it's really just about picking apart a puzzle. Every day something breaks, even if it's the drone on a tree like this. Let's cut this branch off. This one might get tangled in that, but it's like kind of small and far away. I'm not gonna do an undercut in this one because it's gonna be resting on that one anyway, so it's not gonna like peel. Really. Pull that off. All right, let's cut this guy. And just dropped it. You don't want to just do that same two cut thing. You want this to actually be in motion before it breaks. As soon as that curve closes, it pops off. That's why we do it out there. But we want this to close more to get out in the direction we want it to fall before it pops. So that's why we do a face. I'm not going to go super deep because it already leans the right way. Now, do the back cut. And watch this. As soon as this closes, that's when this wood breaks. If you can see that on my GoPro or not. That's our hinge wood. And oak is really good about the hinge wood. It's really manipulatable. You can do a lot with oak. It really hangs on. You can really hinge and swing things. It's just very easy to work with. We'll do a little snap cut here. The bottom cut on a snap cut is the direction it's going to go. I'll go. Okay. So this you really kind of got to get a feel for it. It's like a wiggly tooth. See? Just wiggling. But it wants to fall in the direction of the downward cut. That's where it goes. And I will have this kind of awkward bit at the this one spur. Same thing, I'll do a snap cut here. I could do a face cut, but it's just oak and it's like just easier. Also, towards the end, like you want to pull your saw out so it doesn't get stuck in the kerf and get tugged out. Pull my saw out. Let's just cut this one off. Out here. Do it out here. This keeps it far away from the trunk. You don't want it like resting against the trunk like we talked about earlier. So cutting it out here helps that. It also helps it pop off easier because this wood is a lot cleaner than here. Here it's all gnarled at the trunk. Like that's the strongest attachment point, and we're trying to sever this as quickly as possible. So it makes more sense to do it to cut it at a weaker point. Pops right off. Now we'll take the stub off. Now with this one, I will just cut straight through because it's really short and stubby. It means it'll hold on for a long time before it releases. So I'm not as worried about peeling on this one. And it's short enough that it's not going to get lodged and hit my foot or anything. All right, that side is done. Now we'll start climbing up. Should be a combination of flip lining up and hip thrusting. Now I want to cut this one down last, of course, right? Because this is my tie-in point. If I cut this one out, I'll have an awkward time cutting the other two. Let's go cut this one down next. And I've also made sure I don't have any branches interfering, with my line. I made sure that when I was up there. So clean those are coming off. I've got two tie-ins because I was able to make my rope lanyard into a secondary rope. I could suspend myself here if I wanted to work in this area, but it just gives me extra options. I don't need to be tied in this way, but depending on what you're doing, it's nice to use a rope lanyard instead of a steel cord flip line because you have extra positioning options. Look at this top. Remember what we talked about? You want a face cut so that it opens and closes, and then you want the wood to break so that it lands clean. If I just cut straight through this thing's gonna peel and do something pretty gnarly. And we've all seen those videos, right? The guy's out there on a ladder, he's cutting a branch just like this, and he just goes for it. And it peels and it hits the ladder, and it takes him out. The way that the stem comes off the tree is super important. If you're just cutting it, it's gonna peel. And that's actually going to put the butt like over there if this thing breaks. And it can just, that's why we do face cuts. It's a deliberate weak point when that hinge, when the face cut closes, the hinge is small and it snaps and it gets it away. So what happens if you just cut straight through? Well, let's do it. All right, let's say we have no face cut here. Let's just go for it. I don't really even So, and that's why I tied into this one. You saw how I changed my rope from right here to there, so that would have been all up on my flip line. That's probably like 400 or 500 pounds, and that would have tugged on me bad without a face cut. I'm tempted to do this one, but this one will catch on that branch. Yeah, actually, I can reach over because I've got this nice tie-in, and I'm suspended like this. I'm actually gonna cut that branch next. Work positioning is what. It's almost maybe the most important thing climbing these trees, work positioning, because it means that you're comfortable. You're less likely to strain yourself, hurt yourself, doing some awkward position. You always hurt yourself when you're like in some crazy awkward position, work positioning, being comfortable, being agile, able to move around the canopy. That's what's going to make your work efficient, and that's what's going to keep you safe. Break. Okay. Now I can dump this side too. That one's gone. If I would have tried to dump that, this would have caught that, and it would have ended up on top of me. That's the thing. It's like these trees, they're puzzles, and it's like if you're just going for it, dude, you can get so hurt not knowing what to expect. But you cut down a bunch of trees, you can kind of just picture how things are gonna fall. I did not know if that was going to hold on or peel all the way off, because that's an unpredictable. You can't do that perfectly. It's too many variable factors like the grain of the wood and everything. A face cut is predictable. Same thing every time for the most part. Just cutting it and hoping for the best, that's like, you just don't even know what's going to happen. All right, I got an awkward position here with my rope and this guy. Oh man, this is where the handsaw is very handy when you're working right next to your rope. So I'll cut this off out here. Look how close I am to my rope. Like, this only has teeth on the one side. It's a little rusted. It looks so bad. But so it is nice to have a handsaw so you can get, like, I don't want my chainsaw right here. Look how close it is to my rope. Also, another thing, it really is safe to have a handsaw. Like, look at this. Look at. Oh, my saw is pinched. Good thing I got a handsaw. This is really gonna save the day. So that is a good reason. There are really good reasons to have a handsaw. It's true. We're just gonna go for it. So this is called pushing the chain. Playing with the top of the bar. Works pretty good, but you gotta have a really sharp saw to do it. This is called pulling. Which is objectively, it'll cut better that way, but a lot of times these climbing saws, you can't see when you're cutting this way. The whole saw is blocking your view. You want the face cut to be clean, because it's gonna, if you have like a sliver of wood in there, when that closes, the face cut's pretty much done functioning properly now. So if you're worried about splitting your barber chain, the best thing you can do, cut more brush off, like this. Because the less weight you move at a singular moment, the less violent, the less force will be put on the stem. So by reducing the weight more, this thing's gonna move less when it goes over. But let's say I was at a really crazy angle and I was worried about either sliding or I'm worried about this thing splitting apart. This little trick can help with both those things. I'm tied in. I'm not just unclipping my flip line. But I'm tied in, I unclip my flip line. Check this out. If I wrap it twice around the trunk, now it's harder to move up and down the trunk. It's not like very good for mobility, but now if this thing splits apart, my flip line is gonna hold it together more so than if I just had it around like normally, and then this thing was pushing on me. Also, if this were really slippery and I was at an angle, let's say I slipped, like I'm not sliding down the trunk, I'm staying in place because my rope is wrapped. So I will wrap my rope on like really slimy trees if I'm climbing in the rain, leaning trees with no, if I don't want to slide down the trunk like crazy. So wrapping the flip line is a really good way to prevent those two issues. All right, back cut. With these deciduous trees, you're really kind of like at the mercy of the way everything leans. Maybe we should chip that 1 liter Big Flave just so it's not, you don't have to clean everything, but just get the road open.
Yes, absolutely.
I really like that move on alders. Very weak wood, much splitting out, always leaning, always slippery and snotty. I don't really want to cut that big piece of wood with the little battery saw. It's not in the way, there's nothing over this. So if I had anything over here, I'd ask for a different chainsaw. I would get rid of this completely. There's nothing right over it, so I'll just leave it for now. It's not really gonna affect anything. Ooh, look at my rope is kind of twisted somehow. In all my acrobatics, I twisted my rope. See how it's twisted? It's giving me extra friction, extra headaches. No big deal. I've got my flip line on. I'm just gonna unclip it from my bridge. Just twist it back. I don't even know how that happened, but not a big deal. These prusik knots, you'll see, you probably can't see it, but when I do it, I'm usually like just touching it with my palm. That activates it and prevents it from slipping a little bit, because sometimes you can pull up and then you let go, and you see how I drop down like 6 inches. Usually when I pull my prusik, I pull it, and then, the bottom of my hand, I'm setting the knot up high, just so I sag. I don't sag. I do the same thing with my flip line. But I'm going to cut some more branches off for this one, just so that when I am over there, I've got like a really clear, not fighting these branches. And my saw's sharp, so this is, maybe 2 inches. I can just cut straight through it. That's only because I can cut through it quickly, because it's small. If that were a bigger diameter, of course, I've been talking about doing the undercut and popping the branches off. I've been talking about doing face cuts. When they're small, just get your saw sharp and just go for it. Just a sharp saw is a safe saw. Let's get these off. Alright, we've skinnied this thing right up to our topping point. Let's go back down. Let's go over here. We got a little bit of a mess here. I'll use my handsaw to clean up these suckers. I try to never really skip I try not to ignore like stubs and suckers and stuff, even if they're little. Just get rid of them to make your life easier. Let's keep going up. I'm always trying to stay on the top of these branches. I don't want to swing under these. It's very awkward. Can't really cut these because I got vehicles right there. So, go a little high. And if you ever don't know what to cut, you're in a tree like this and you don't know what to cut, it's really a process of elimination, right? If you don't know what to cut, go to a different part of the tree and just like find something to cut. Something will cut free, it'll clear, As you cut the stuff that's obvious, the stuff that's questionable will start to make more sense. Maybe you'll see something from a different angle you didn't see before. Maybe you cut one branch and it opens up. All this to say, if you don't know what to cut in a particular area, maybe go somewhere else and cut the obvious stuff first, and then the complicated stuff will make more sense later. Small branches, I can just cut straight through. So with that branch, I probably could have just powered through, but look where my flip line is. I didn't want to be pushing hard while cutting that. So that's why I did the undercut on that. You know, I probably could have just cut straight through, watching my flip. Alright, we're going to take a top right here. So this top leans right towards the road. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to put my hand on this butt, and I'm going to push the butt that direction, and that will cause the tip to rotate, and this won't take up the whole road. You should be careful doing stuff like this. See how it landed sideways? If I would have done that, it'd be blocking the road, but there's this moment right when the hinge wood breaks for just like a half second. It's weightless. It doesn't weigh anything. It's great, even like a big log. For just a second, it doesn't weigh anything, and you can actually manipulate it pretty well like that. And that's like a pretty big. It's not like I could manually hold and throw that branch. It weighs probably 200 pounds. Like I said, just for a second, it weighs nothing, and I was able to turn it almost 90 degrees. That top, just one hand. Let's put ourselves in a bad situation. All right, so I need to cut these two, right? They're in my way. I've got vehicles there. I can't cut this one yet. What happens if I try to cut it? We're going into the unknown. Let's cut this top, yeah. I was in the wrong order. Look at a bad situation I'm in now. I've got this big branch here, and I've got, this could come up. It could go between my flip line. It could go over my flip line. It could hit me. It could, roll out. The tips could hold. It could go into the truck. This is like a not good situation that I'm in now. So now, all I can really do is like kind of try my best, like a little higher. Getting higher than it will help. Cutting it in the wrong order is a big deal. There's no standing this thing back up. All I can do is just manhandle this thing and hope for the best. Oh, dude, and it's oak, so it's like, oh, it does not want to come off. All my experience, and it's like you find yourself in a situation like this, like, oh man, what do I do? You're just like,
I'll get the crane.
Yeah, that's when you need the crane. That's the only solution. So now I'm gonna cut it out here, so I can see, because I can't really tell what's going on with that cut. I'm just gonna cut it. If I cut it here, it's gonna pinch. See? So I'll cut it here. I'm just hoping for the best. Oh, yeah, that's so heavy. Okay. So now I'm just gonna try to throw it out and hope it doesn't break. Oh my god. Horrible. Luckily I have a lot of layers on. That would have hurt in the summer. That is the importance. That was deliberate. That just shows you, like, you do that with a big piece of wood, you're in big trouble. Like, look up and make sure you're peeling it off like the puzzle that it is. Can't wait for somebody to clip that one and be like, look at this guy. Remember how I said we don't want these peeling down? Well, now I've got vehicles there. I actually do want this branch to peel down because it will put it more towards this way. And I've got the height, but it's not going to land on me or anything. So I'm going to peel it down. And then I cut it at the very last second. It launches it that way. I'll do it again, watch. It's a timing thing, right? Watch. Let to go. Sever it. Oh, that didn't work that time. I think we can do it with this. Peeling these different. I don't know if this is. So sometimes you actually do want it to peel, but you want it to peel deliberately. I'm high above it. I'm in a good position. So peeling those is the awesome move to do in this scenario. When you're down lower and the top is taller than the tree, it is absolutely not the move you want to do. It's also very species dependent. Like, a lot of species won't hold on that well. Nothing to these branches, we'll do all three. 1, 2, 3. Let's slash cut this one. So slash cutting is a great way to keep it consolidated, keep it tidy, utilize a small drop zone. Imagine if I had another tree over there. I don't want to cut a notch and get the tip hung in. So I'm gonna slash cut this one. Well, slash cutting, it's gonna be tough with this saw because